We start with Eusebius, and between the years 320 and 330, Eusebius wrote his Ecclesiastical History. Eusebius is generally regarded as the first church historian, and said that the church recognized 22 of the books and letters that we presently have in our New Testament. There were 5 that are presently in our New Testament that he said the church at that point regarded as doubtful. This would be James, Jude, 2 Peter, 2nd and 3rd John. Again, he regarded these as doubtful because they doubted whether the authors actually wrote these. In fact, even in modern scholarship, even in some evangelical scholarship, there is still serious question over whether James, Jude, Peter, and John actually wrote these. Debates take place even today over these. Although it may not be debated whether they should be included in the canon or in the New Testament, they still debate over the authorship of these. But this debate goes all the way back to Eusebius. Cyril of Jerusalem in the year 350, it said the church approved of 27 at that point, many did. Now, it wasn't the same 27 we have today. 26 of the 27 were there, but he also wanted to include the Gospel of Thomas. And as far as I know, he's the only one who ever wanted to include the Gospel of Thomas. This was the only time it was. Cyril excluded, he excluded Revelation because he didn't think John wrote it. The Laodicea Synod of 363 recognized 26 of the 27 that we have today. Thomas is out at this point. It was only in that one time. Thomas is out, you have all 26, but Cyril went ahead and the Laodicea Synod excluded the book of Revelation. Athanasius of 367 is the first one to come along and say at this point the church recognized 27 books and letters in the New Testament, and this is the first time we have the 27 recognized that we have today in our New Testament. Then Gregory of Nazianzus in 390 recognized the same 27. The African canons of 393 to 419 recognized the 27 that we have today. And then you have Jerome of 394, the 27 that we have today. Augustine in 395 to 400 recognized the 27 that we have today. The Carthage Synod of 397 recognized 26. They still had their serious questions about Revelation and whether John wrote it, and so they excluded it from their canon. But when the Carthage Synod met again in the year 419, they brought it back. And they said, we thought about it again, and we think Revelation should be in there. And then from that point on, there still was some dispute, but the 27 continued to be accepted and accepted. The point I want to make here is that the tendency was to exclude literature from the New Testament. It wasn't a matter, hey, let's include all these, and then over time it's just let's throw out some of these that don't agree. They might even agree that Revelation and 2nd and 3rd John and 2nd Peter and Jude and James were orthodox in their teachings, widespread in usage, etc. But maybe they didn't think that they were accepted by or written by an apostle or their colleague, and so they debated over these things and went to exclude them from the canon. Again, over time, they started to include these in, but it was after significant debate that took place over centuries.